Hi, welcome to Happier Ladies, a podcast where we discuss all things related to the Happier and Happier in Hollywood podcasts.
We're sisters
And super fans.
who can't get enough happier.
So we created our own podcast to keep the conversation going.
I'm Malika Amandi, a SoCal native living in Western Massachusetts, a new mom, and an entrepreneur. I'm here with my sister, Azizi Williams.
That's me. I live and work in the LA area. I'm a not-so-new mom, and I'm an education professional in the independent school world. In this episode, we answer call sheet questions that help us get to know each other better.
So, Azizi, we've both been traveling a lot. We've been talking about travel hacks. Gretchen and Liz are talking about travel hacks. It's just like a thing. It's summer. I have one. I'm just going to share a drive-by hack. This isn't a whole segment. It's just so
Drive-by
good.
hack. Okay. Let's have it. It's going to be quick.
I found this on, I think I was looking on Reddit for something in like a toddler forum parent travel thing. So the hack is to travel with clothespins. And one of the primary ways you can use them is to keep curtains closed. So, you know how often in a hotel light just comes in the curtains, or you can't ever get that blackout effect you really want?
Yes.
Having some clothespins can help you out there. And we used this actually when we were in Montreal. We brought our own blackout curtains
Wow.
and clothespin them over
Wow.
the drapes, which were quite sheer.
I guess that's a whole other hack, is to bring your own blackout curtains.
2 for 1.
Wow.
But I think clothespins are just one of those little tools, like a safety pin or something, that you could probably find a lot of other uses for it that you didn't realize.
I do this, but with binder clips, which you might have around more if you have an office or, have office supplies. And binder clips could close the curtains together. They're also a good chip clip if you bring snacks on the road
Yes.
and you need to keep the bags closed. But yeah, clothespins also do that.
That's true.
Good hack. Malika, what happened in Happier?
Recently on Happier, Liz and Gretchen discuss exercise hacks. So they did kind of a big roundup referencing the 4 tendencies and the 21 habits for change and listener suggestions, kind of giving tips and hacks for how to make exercise a daily habit. And I will say that when I saw that this was what the episode was going to be about, I kind of skipped over it.
Aww.
It was like, I don't want to listen to that now.
Why? Why did you have those feelings?
I think because I'm in a moment where I know I'm not exercising the way that I want to, that my best self would.
Yes.
And so, sometimes when you know something already, you don't want to be reminded of it, or I don't know what that phenomena is, like that impulse to just, I guess it's called denial.
Avoid.
The avoidance thing. Because of course, when I did listen to it, it was really good and I felt inspired by the suggestions. But that initial thing was just like, I don't have a strong daily exercise habit at the moment.
But you could call this moment research mode. You're in research mode.
Sure.
You're not
Absolutely
doing the thing, but you're just researching about it.
Yeah.
Getting ready. It was interesting and inspiring. And I've also been actually reading the book Slow AF Run Club. I've talked about it before. It's by Martinus Evans, and he is a very large-bodied man, and he wrote a whole guide for people who are, he calls them non-traditional runners. And it's actually like a workbook. There's places where you add what's getting in the way of you starting your journey, what is the inner critic, giving it a name. There's some really good practices because his mission is to help everyone see themselves as a runner and to dispel the myths and the stereotypes about who gets to run. And one quote from the book that I really liked is practice delusional self-belief, believing in yourself no matter what, because it just might be true. Like, oh yeah, maybe it's true. Like, why not believe in yourself? And one thing that he talks about is getting a gait analysis, which I have never had a gait analysis. I did have a screening. I don't know what the formal name is, where you stand on a machine and they give you sort of an x-ray of your feet and ankles and then give you some feedback about the kind of shoe you should wear. But a gait analysis is where you're running on a treadmill and they're watching you. And that sounds like something I wanna get as I'm on this journey. Have you had that, Malika?
I haven't. When I got orthotics, I wouldn't call it an official gait analysis. I did walk on a treadmill
Mm.
and the doctor watched me walk. I never ran,
Mhm.
but he was able to tell some things from me walking
Yeah,
barefoot on a treadmill. So I don't know if that ticks that box or not, but I think it would be great to do that. If I was going to get into running, then I would
yeah.
want to get that too. Cause why not have all the tools? I mean, I could also see like the argument for, running is supposed to be very simple and don't need a lot of equipment,
True,
so
true.
it
It's
feels
true.
like, well, that's just making it more complicated. But I think, especially if you're concerned about your joints and just wanting to make sure you're taking care of yourself while you're doing the activity, that sounds like a really good thing to pursue.
It's true that you shouldn't wait or need a lot of equipment, but he talks a lot about the most important thing are the shoes.
Right.
That is the most important thing to spend money on and be really careful of because it could really make or break your ability to stay with it. So, yeah, this is something that's on my list to try. And then the other thing that he gets into, because obviously he wants to encourage people to run, he's run all of these marathons and he has a whole training. What is it called? Like
Regimen?
regimen? Is it what is it called when you're yeah, it's like a training regimen to prepare for a half marathon or a marathon. And he's got a couple of different weekly guides to
Right.
say, this is where you start. This is how it builds. Do this in the next week. This is when you should eat. This is how to warm up. This is what you should eat. He lays it all out. And it is starting to make me think, do I need to run
Oh,
3 miles? 3 miles? 3 miles.
a
Like, a
5K.
5K, that's what it's called. Do I need to run a 5K? Have you run a marathon, Malika?
So I did a triathlon,
Oh, that's right.
and that included a 5K run. The actual race was actually my first time running that distance.
Wow.
Because I had a positive experience with that, I ended up training for a half marathon. And as a part of the half marathon, I did a 10K,
Yeah.
like race and preparation. And then I did do the half marathon. And I thought after that, I was going to start training for a full marathon. I did start and then I stopped. I realized I don't actually enjoy running that
Oh.
much.
Oh.
But I was super motivated by the race energy is really cool. Like
Mhm.
it's a very inspiring place. If you've never done a 5K or 10K or any kind of race like that,
Mm.
it is incredible how many different people kind of are doing this thing. And that's a very exciting, and there are volunteers cheering you on at different points. It's like a very supportive and positive, life affirming experience.
Hmm.
But the training takes a lot of time. And that was kind of where
Right.
I realized, you know what? I don't think it's worth it for me.
Right.
For a marathon in particular, you have to do long runs. You have to run 10 miles and 12 miles,
Well, that's the
like
point. Yes.
regularly.
Yes.
If you're not a fast runner, that can be several hours of your day just
Yes.
doing that workout. So I ended up feeling like it wasn't for me. But I think now I would be interested potentially in
Should
doing like a
we?
5K or
Should we train
something
for
where
a
I would.
5K? Let's think about it. I'm not saying a marathon. I just want a medal and I want
Ye-
to have the shirt. And I think I want to try that, but just 3 miles. Just 3 miles. That's all I'm saying.
I think you should definitely do it.
Oh,
You don't need to wait for me.
I'm not okay. I'm not going to wait for you, but I am going to keep asking you
Okay.
for now because there's no hard goal. I'm still thinking about it. I haven't even finished the book. I'm halfway through, but he does talk about he calls himself fat, being a fat runner, and being the last one to finish the race and what that feels like and what to expect. And,
Yeah.
that's a possibility and it's okay. And again, it's just very inspiring. So, anyway, I could just be
Yeah.
swept up in the book. We'll see if this actually sticks, but that's what this segment made me think of.
It's a good feeling. I think you and I are similar in that we're not very competitive.
Right.
And so it is very freeing to just know, like, I'm going to finish. That's the win, without necessarily comparing yourself to anybody else or getting wrapped up in having to do it in a certain amount of time. I remember during the pandemic, you invited me to do a virtual marathon where we tracked our miles on a certain app. And then we did get a t shirt and a medal in the mail. It didn't have to be done in one day. It was like over the course of a month.
That could be part of the training, and I got that idea from a listener on Happier during the pandemic. It's called Yes Fit, and they have different
Okay.
virtual races that you could participate on, and based on the number of steps you've taken, they'll tell you where you would be on the race route, and there's even a picture that you can look at of where that stop would be on the race, wherever in the world this race is taking place, and it's asynchronous, so it doesn't have to be done at the same time as anyone else, and it's all of your steps, like you said. So it was really cool. And then yeah, we got a medal and it was fun. So that's something I got away from. Maybe that's a part of this journey as well. They also talked about Liz's journey with Orange Theory, and that's something you're thinking about, Malika, right?
I'm interested in trying it with you. This is like for podcast research
Oh,
because it's
okay.
been something that they've discussed so much. And I think it could be fun. There's one that is in my area. So I don't know that I would necessarily commit to it. Although I will say, in their conversation, one of the things that I was reminded of is that I am an obliger and I really need to lean into my obligerness in this area because I have a gym membership, but nobody is holding me accountable. I don't go very often. It's just kind of there. But I think if I did have a structure where I had to sign up and was expected to show up, that I would definitely follow through.
Hmm.
So maybe Orange Theory is a better fit for me. I don't
I
know.
think you should definitely try it, and I would be happy to try it with you. I was thinking about it and I reached out and was going to do the free session. But then when I realized you had to schedule a class and come at a certain time, that turned me off. I was like, I don't want to do that. I want to be able to exercise whenever I want to exercise, and I don't want to have to come at a certain time. And I could blow it off. That's not the thing that's going to get me to go. So I didn't pursue it any further after that. They were like, well, the time you want to come is full. And I was like, well, then I'm not coming. But I would be happy to go with you and see what it's all about.
What happened on Happier in Hollywood?
On Happier in Hollywood, episode 374, Liz and Sarah discuss what makes good intellectual property. They call it IP. Liz shares about her disconnect anxiety, and they recommend giving Uber gift cards as gifts. Malika, have you ever experienced disconnect anxiety?
Oh, yeah. I think not really in my current work situation, but when I was doing acting full time, that was a huge concern. Any other part time job I had needed to be flexible enough so that I could leave or change my schedule if I needed to, if I booked something. And when you're an actor, it's called booking out when you like go on vacation or something where you're not going to be available.
Hmm.
So you have to tell your reps, I'm booking out for this week, which basically means if an opportunity comes up that the beginning of it is during these dates, the end of it, they call it the outside dates. If anything conflicts with when I'm not there, I can't even audition for it.
Oh, wow.
So reps, they really don't want you to book out unless it's critical because it kind of compromises their ability to submit you for things. But, life happens. There are times when you really need to be in a different place or you want to take a break or something like that. So it was always this negotiation thing. And, people would say, my friends and I would kind of always remark that as soon as you booked a plane ticket, like as soon as you bought a ticket somewhere that was like non-refundable,
Mhm.
then you would get an audition opportunity that conflicted and then be forced with, do I cancel this vacation or do I book out? Because they'll ask you, they're like, are you really booked out? Like,
Right. They'll push back, even though you said you were.
yes, even though you might not have anything for weeks and weeks or even months, as soon as
Yes.
you do that, and that I see that happen time and time again with my friends who are kind of still in that zone. And there were times when I had to decline opportunities because I decided, no, I am going to book out. And like, this was one of the signals that it wasn't cut out for that
Mm.
because I felt like it was more important for me to have control over my own time,
Yes.
which is just not like a value you can really have as an actor in the industry at that time. I think some things are a little different now because of things going remote and stuff, but it's still, you just can't be in two places at once, no matter what.
Right,
So
right.
I definitely could relate to that fear that you're going to miss something if you decide to unplug.
And this happened with your friend, right? Recently?
Yeah, one of my very close friends recently was planning to come to a wedding, and we were going to have a big celebration together for my birthday, and it had been planned for quite some time. And maybe the week before, she found out she was up for a really kind of life-changing opportunity. And, the best scenario, she got it. And so she had to cancel this other trip.
Oh.
And I was sad, obviously, for my own selfish reasons, but of course, on a deeper level, extremely happy for her and excited. But it is just one of those things. You miss a lot of weddings, you miss a lot of birthdays and events. And yeah, some ways it's worth it. In other ways, it's just a trade off.
So what I'm hearing is that to get work as an actor, you should book a lot of trips that are non-refundable. That's what it sounds like you're saying.
That's one way, I guess, to get work.
Book a lot
Yeah.
of vacations and then you get work.
Like outsmart the universe. Do you ever feel disconnect anxiety?
It's funny, I was thinking about this and I had to think long and hard. And then I realized I don't ever disconnect. So I don't ever have disconnect anxiety, which is not a great thing. But the nature of my work, and I've been doing this work for a long time. And I guess it's the nature of the work and the way I approach it is that I need to always be available and I'm always
Mhm.
reachable. And I have had to take a work call on a vacation or change my vacation or just all the time it happens. When I'm waiting for a plane at the airport, when I'm, late at night, it just that's the nature of my work. So I've not experienced disconnect anxiety and I don't know. It could be freeing. It could be an interesting experience to plan a trip where I can't be reached and to
Mm,
experience what that's like. But it would have to be because there is no internet or because,
right,
it would have to really be like what Liz and Gretchen are experiencing. So,
right.
yeah,
On a mountain somewhere.
on a mountain in another country, in another time zone, I think is what it would take, which, maybe that's something I should work on.
It's interesting though, because I think your work is such that you can offer your best over the phone or
Yeah.
via email. Like
Yeah.
you can be as effective from a faraway place, doing the things, talking to the person, managing the situation, quote unquote, remotely.
Exactly, and usually the times when that's needed, when I wasn't planning on being in the office, that's good enough, right? It's good enough. I have been at your place on vacation and had to take a parent meeting over Zoom, and
Right,
it was fine. That did it, so it's true. It is still effective. I can still be effective when I am remote, but that just means that I can always be effective.
right. Interesting.
Mhm.
Well, let's take a break. And when we come back, we will dive into some questions. Azizi, how's your dinner game these days?
Well, Malika, I used to struggle with what to cook for dinner.
You're cooking now?
Okay. Actually, my husband used to struggle with what to make for dinner. I mean, meal planning, grocery lists, yuck. But then we found Prep Dish. It's a weekly meal planning service that tells you exactly what to cook. And now they've partnered with Instacart, so your grocery list becomes a ready to go online cart.
Oh, what's in your cart, Azizi?
All of the Prep Dish ingredients, plus I can add energy drinks, chili crisp, lipstick, whatever, and check out in just a few clicks. Shopping online is so fun. The meals are family friendly, healthy, and super easy to prep. Dinner is easy to make, and now we look forward to new tasty meals.
Prep Dish is offering our listeners 2 weeks free. Just head to prepdish.com/happierladies to sign up. Again, that's prepdish.com/happierladies.
We are back with a Who Am I segment where we ask a question that will help you understand who you are.
So, Azizi, I understand you have multiple questions for us today.
Yes, I'm a huge fan of The Office, have watched all the seasons multiple times and can quote them. And I also am a huge fan of The Office Ladies, the rewatch podcast. And on one of the episodes, they introduced a segment called Get to Know Your Cast and Crew. And this is like a mini interview of an office crew member. And on the call sheet for that day, they would have an interview with that crew member that they were featuring. And it was a nice way for the cast and the crew to kind of get to know each other particularly if it's a crew member they don't interact with that much or they don't have that much time with. And then by sharing the call sheet questions and answers of the crew members, it's a nice way for the podcast audience to get to know the people that were important to the office, but who were not visible to the audience.
So a call sheet is a document for a production that kind of has all of the important logistical information for that day. So it includes the locations where shooting is taking place, key people on the crew that you can contact if something goes wrong, like even where their closest hospital is. And then it lists out the actors that are being used that day and the scenes that they're in. I think that's most of what is included there. It's not released until the night before, so you don't really know how things are going to lay out necessarily until right before, but everybody who's involved has this document, this sheet, and references it throughout the day.
And on the podcast, on the Office Ladies podcast, they're frequently referring to the call sheet because they could go back and say, oh, this was the weather on this day, or this was the time we had to come to
Right.
set. And this is, oh, you had a day off on this day. So it adds a lot of color to each episode because you get a sense of what the day was really like when they were filming it. So that's kind of cool. I thought the questions were fun. So maybe we could ask each other some of the questions that were on the call sheet for the office and get to know each other. Malika, let's take turns asking the question, and I have the first one. What activities did you enjoy as a child?
I liked dancing. I guess I followed in your footsteps and did
Mm.
formal dance classes like ballet, jazz, African, modern, and I enjoyed those classes. I also enjoyed playing soccer, which I don't think I would enjoy now, but I did it until I think through 8th grade.
Mm.
I like to pretend. I remember playing Spaceballs with my god sister and having these elaborate, spaceship forts, and the irony is that I never really watched Star Wars, which it's a spoof on, but I know Spaceballs really well. And then I do remember, like, coming up with characters with a friend. Like, we would make up a character and then write down what food they like to eat and what books they read and just kind of imagining these other people's lives.
Hmm.
What about you, Azizi? What activities did you enjoy as a child?
I did not enjoy sports. I did not enjoy soccer. I don't remember you playing until you were in 8th grade. That's amazing. After 2 seasons, I was like, "No, I'm done." But I did love dance, and so that ended up taking up a lot of time when I was younger. I also really love sensory kinds of things, like playing in the mud,
Mm.
mud pies, playing restaurant, a lot of make-believe kinds of things, playing with dolls. I really like to do hair, do the doll's hair, and pretend that way. Making things, crafts, and potions, and cooking I loved, baking. Yeah, those were the things I liked as a child.
What is the prettiest place you've ever visited?
I think the prettiest place I've ever visited, I think, oh, so many. I would have to say the Grand Tetons. Wow.
Ooh.
Yellowstone, beautiful. Just, and it's funny because we were on a family trip there to visit you because you were in a Shakespeare theater company, right? That was in
Mhm.
Montana, was it?
Wyoming.
Wyoming. And it was some hours away to go visit Yellowstone, and at first I was like, "Do we really need to? It's kind of breaking up the trip. I don't know if it's worth it." And as soon as we got there, my jaw just dropped. It's like, wow, it's so beautiful. It's so majestic. And then Yellowstone, all of the colors and the way the colors showed up, the different kinds of pools and geysers and springs and geothermal things happening. I mean, just beautiful. So Yellowstone for me and the Grand Tetons. What's the prettiest place you've ever visited, Malika?
Well, I just have to interject that that is one of the most beautiful places in the world,
Mhm.
and it was such a incredible thing to, like, live there for a few weeks and work there. I've gone a few times, and it's always just, like, feels like you won the lottery because of the landscape that you get to
Mhm.
see every day.
Yeah,
We just don't have those colors in California even.
no, it's special.
It's very special. So the thing that came to mind is this national park I went to in Croatia
Oh.
called Plitvice Lakes. And I went on a backpacking trip kind of around many countries in Eastern Europe after, I guess it was before I started grad school. One of our cousins had an extra ticket basically on this trip they had planned, and they had actually bought a backpack already. And I really just had to show up and like pay for my food, but I
Mm.
got this amazing 3-week trip. I went to places I would have never gone to and that I didn't even know about at the time. But this national park, the colors of the water are like turquoise.
Mm.
And again, it's just like hues that I'd never seen before in water. It was really incredible. So it was kind of a place that you hike around, but it was just truly breathtaking.
Wow. I want to go to Croatia. I've heard so many good things about it.
I highly recommend.
Malika, what was your first encounter with the entertainment industry?
So the thing that I first remember is I think I was probably 4 or 5 years old, and our dad was nominated for an Emmy for Muppet Babies. He was a sound editor. Maybe he was a supervising sound editor, but I didn't know the details. Like, I probably couldn't have said that, but I just remember that we were staying up really late. We were at our godmother's house. She was watching us for the night, and then I remember them coming home, my parents coming to get us, so maybe it was, like, late at night they came over because I think they were dressed up and there was
That's
champagne and,
right.
like,
Yeah, you're right.
we got little plastic cups that had Muppet Babies on them, like swag
Uh-huh.
from the Muppet Babies show, and I just remember because I actually watched the Muppet Babies. That was, like I was, like, in their demographic,
Yeah.
so I didn't know the details, but it just felt like, "Oh, wow, we get all this free stuff. What's going on?" Certainly, they were excited and happy, and that was fun.
That was such an exciting time. I remember that too. And I distinctly remember the plastic mugs, the Muppet Baby mugs,
Yeah,
and the Muppet Baby theme song. And I think that was the first time we really understood what our dad did or that it was important. I don't know if I fully
right.
knew what he did, but that it was important and how excited they were. So that's a good memory.
What was your first encounter?
Shout out to Steve Williams. He was the supervising sound editor for a movie called It. And this was the adaptation of Stephen King's book, It, scary movie with a creepy clown. And this was the first one, so it wasn't the remake that just came out, and I don't know that it was in the theaters. I think it was gonna be like a mini series. It was made for TV, and so I didn't watch the movie, just full disclosure, but as he was getting ready for it, he needed some sounds of kids singing and laughing, and so he asked me to invite some of my friends over. We went down to the basement, he had his whole microphone set up, and we had to like sing these songs, kid songs, and laugh and all that. And it ended up in the movie. And so that was my first experience with the entertainment industry was being recorded for, I don't know what the technical term is for it.
ADR,
There you
maybe?
go.
Or f
Foley, ADR. I don't know what the term is
Yeah,
for it.
one of those.
But yeah, that's my voice in the children singing and the original It. Were you there, Malika, for that?
Well, I have a different
Do
memory of it, so maybe
you?
I
You
was
have a different
used
memory.
differently.
Okay, you're probably right. So let's hear what really happened.
I remember that he needed us to scream. So I remember screaming in the basement. And it's possible he used both of us at different times? I think I remember me and my god sister, yeah, screaming around a microphone in the basement. And then I do remember watching the movie,
Oh,
which I shouldn't have watched as a child, not with our father, but it being on TV or in the house. And I remember watching it and being afraid of drains for a while.
I remember scenes from the movie, but I don't remember watching it and being scared by it, but maybe we watched it together. It could have happened.
We absolutely watched it together more than
Okay, all
once.
right. Well, I blocked it out. So I no longer have any negative association with it. And I think I remember screaming also. And there were, yeah, probably lots of different things that we did, different sounds he collected. But it was fun. I remember having a good time with that part.
It was fun. Azizi, do you play a musical
I
instrument?
know. I do not. But not because there wasn't effort made. There definitely was effort made around piano. I remember we had a baby grand piano and nobody knew how to play it, but there were a lot of aspirations that you and I would learn. So I did take lessons for a while, but nothing really stuck and it kind of petered out. What about you, Malika?
Same. So I took piano lessons and didn't get very far. I think as soon as you needed two hands to play, that was kind of like my limit.
I'm out. But on a
Yeah.
one-handed piano, you're
Yeah.
great. That's funny. I do have a ukulele, and I do intend to get back to trying it. I would really like to learn a few songs, but it just hasn't made the priority list.
I'm going to give a shout out to our mother, Clara, because she has learned how to play the drums, like the African drums, recently.
Oh, I don't
And
know.
she's really good.
Have you heard her play?
When she came out to help with Indigo, we were at a children's museum and they had a bunch of drums there and she was playing on the drums.
Oh.
And it was like a real thing. I'll see if I can find a video of it.
Oh,
It
I
was
wanna
like
see that.
not just somebody messing around, like someone who knew what they were doing. It was pretty cool.
Oh, I love that for her mom. That's so cool. That's so cool. Malika, what do you like to do on the weekends?
Well, I've been doing my kind of romanticize your weekend project.
Mm,
So I've been thinking about this a lot. I think I enjoy doing things with my family. So I like when the weather's right and we can all go for a walk. Norm, the baby, and the dog. That's always really fun. And I also like going to the children's museums or the library, kind of like events, happenings, festivals. If there's a seasonal fair, I'm there.
yes.
Those are all kind of family things. I think other activities I enjoy are like coffee shop time by myself, which I've talked about. Just
Yes.
like having time to journal or read and like kind of organize my thoughts. I like to see friends if I can. I think I could probably do one or two of these things on any given weekend, but I think that covers most of the bases. What about you, Azizi?
I love to putz. Oh man,
Hmm.
if I can just get out of bed in a leisurely way and kind of just putz around for a while. It's when I journal and maybe catch up on some shows. I like to do maybe some standing yoga, maybe a little workout at home. I like to go to the Huntington, which I've talked about so many times, but if I could go to the Huntington and get work done and just stroll around a garden or two, go to the gift shop, and then have dinner at home with my family. Like if I could just do very little and
Hmm.
just stroll and look at things, I'm happy. That's what I like to do on the weekends. I like to stroll and look at pretty things. If I really break it down.
That's nice.
Mhm.
Okay, Azizi, what is your favorite midnight snack?
Ooh, yes. My favorite midnight snack is cereal and specifically Lucky Charms. I
Oh,
love the charms. I could just have a bowl of charms. Actually, I don't need the Luckies. Lucky Charms. That's my go-to cereal if I want a snack in the middle of the night, but I'll eat any cereal. Any cereal will do. What about you, Malika?
well, I haven't seen the middle of the night in a long time, to be honest.
Well, you
So
could interpret the middle of the night for you might be 9 p.m.
9 p.m.
That's your middle of the night.
I really like having like a little scoop of peanut butter with some chocolate chips in it. That's like
Oh,
in a little tiny cup with a little spoon.
a little spoon. I like this. A little cup and a little spoon for your peanut butter chocolate chip mix.
Yes, it's very
I
tasty,
have to try that. That's a good idea. It requires no effort and you get
right?
that chocolate peanut butter combo. All right. These questions would be great icebreakers at a retreat or meeting. I think I had fun answering them. I don't know if you did you have fun, Malika?
I did, and I could see how this would be fun to read on a call sheet. Like usually a call sheet is purely information. So to have this like newsletter vibe where you actually get to learn some things about someone, that I could see that creating a real sense of community on set.
Let us know what your favorite get to know you questions are. We'd love to collect even more questions.
Let's take a break, and when we come back, we will share our peaks and valleys.
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. When you visit the doctor, you probably hand over your insurance, your ID, and contact details. It's just one of the many places that has your personal info. And if any of them accidentally expose it, you could be at risk for identity theft. LifeLock monitors millions of data points a second. If you become a victim, they'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year at lifelock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
Okay, we're back with Peaks and Valleys. And this is an odd episode, so Malika is up first with a peak.
So last week, Norm took me to an event called Sip and Clip at a wine shop in our town. And it was a collaboration between the wine shop and this artist who does kind of like pop-up collage workshops for people. So it was like in the middle of the venue, they had long tables and there was a wine glass at each table, water, there were some Trader Joe's snacks. And then the artist brought like a stack of magazines, multiple stacks of magazines, but he had like vintage magazines, like vintage Life magazines from the 40s and old Martha Stewart's and just really kind of old comic books, things that you wouldn't just necessarily find in your own home, and different size cardstock. And then everybody got, scissors and glue sticks. And he basically gave a short little spiel and inspired us to like just create something, get to know your neighbors and make some art. And it was so relaxing and I really enjoyed it. I'll share a link to his Instagram in case anybody in the area is interested, because he goes around to different libraries and breweries and does these things. The artist's name is Michael Jostet and his business is called Cut Loose. And the kind of tagline is unwind, create, connect. So he does workshops for like professional development or staff, team building things, or just, date nights. And I just really enjoyed it. I hadn't done a collage in so long, and it just was reminded of how simple it is. And that's something that I actually enjoy doing and used to do like more in my 20s, just kind of play with magazines and fold them into origami. And so that kind of tactile thing was just really satisfying. So a peek to the artist for creating this space and a peek to Norm for planning a great date night.
That sounds like so much fun, Malik. I would love to do that too. What was the finished result, or what are you going to do with what you made?
I can share a picture of it. I made like divider page for my planner that I use
Oh,
at work.
that's
So
really
it's
neat.
something that I'll see all of the time. And there was another coaster size piece that I did as well for my smaller Hobonichi.
Wow. That's so cool. Well, this is also something we could do at Thanksgiving. I'm just saying. I could see everyone, people of all ages, getting into collaging together in this like low key, low stakes way.
It was fun.
Oh, nice.
What is your valley, Azizi?
My valley, okay. My valley are mosquitoes and spiders. It's like
Mm,
peak. Well, I don't want to say it's peak, but it's the beginning of mosquito season. I'm starting with the bites now. And out here, we have the little teeny tiny mosquitoes you can't even see. You don't even know they were there. They get your ankles and,
mhm.
just, it's the worst. So having to deal with that. And then we have a lot of spiders around our house. It's a little creepy. I'm also knowing that maybe the spiders help control the mosquitoes. So maybe we should leave some of them around. But I was telling my husband today, I think we need to introduce bats because I think
Oh
maybe
no.
that's what's needed. And then we started singing There Was an Old Lady Swallowed a Fly and like, what was it that got the mosquitoes or the spiders? I don't know. So that's what we're living with now is just the summer bugs coming out. If you have tips or suggestions about mosquitoes or spiders, I would love to hear them. Please send them my way.
Yeah, the bugs. They're coming here, but it's not like a nuisance when you walk out the door, which is what I remember from last summer at a certain point.
I don't know if they're doing this out there, but apparently they're going to be releasing sterile male mosquitoes in
Oh, yeah, I've
Los
heard
Angeles.
about
Have you
that.
heard that? That's supposed to help control or limit the expanding population of mosquitoes. So I'm optimistic that that will help take care of it.
That's
So
a
it's
good
not as bad
idea.
as last year, but it is beginning.
Well, stay safe.
Hmm.
Well, that brings us to the end. Azizi, let's leave on a happier thought. What are you going to try this week?
I want to get a gait analysis. I want to try that. I want to get on the treadmill and I want to run. I want them to tell me things about what I should be wearing. So that's on my list now. What about you, Malika?
I'm going to think about my obligerness and how to leverage that to get more exercise.
It's a great idea.
Thank you for listening to this episode. You can find our show notes in the episode description. If you like us, rate, review, and tell a friend. And don't forget to follow us.
Send us a message at happierladies@gmail.com and tell us something you liked about Happier and Happier in Hollywood this week.
Our show was edited by Magnus Bjorgum, and our theme music was created by Wyatt Muncie.
And we also want to give a special shout out to Gretchen Rubin, Liz Kraft, and Sarah Fain for inspiring our conversation each week.
You can find us on Instagram at happierladies and on the web at happierladies.com. All right, Azizi, have a happier week.
Have a happier week, Malika.
Bye.
Bye. What are you laughing?
You're just like,
I said,
sounded like,
mm-hmm.
Oh, you said, I didn't hear the first part of that.
That's funny.
This podcast is part of the Sound Advice FM network. Sound Advice FM, women's voices amplified.